Hi, Alice here at Nature Coast Botanical Gardens in Spring Hill, Florida, located on Florida's Gulf Coast in the Nature Coast. We are touring the garden and looking at some of the plants that are good choices for your garden if you're getting started with native plants or just moved to the Florida area and you're wondering what plants might work in your garden, whether in full sun or shade. Throughout our tour, we'll be talking about specific plants. The entrance to the Nature Coast Botanical Gardens, about 50 miles north of Tampa. We're going to the native plant garden managed and supported by the Hernando Chapter of the Florida Native Plant Society. Going to follow this bricked walkway. With me is Janet, the current president of the Hernando Chapter of the Florida Native Plant Society. This looks like a beautyberry.
The fruit are loved by various species of birds, and they actually used to use the leaves as kind of a mosquito repellent. They would put them underneath the saddles of horses because they're very aromatic leaves.
Walking to the native plant section straight ahead. At the entrance,
Yes, you can see some of our Liatris, the gay feathers, are flowering. This is the time of year that they flower. They're beautiful purpley pinky flowers. Things are getting ready for fall here.
is that a longleaf pine?
Yes, that longleaf pine. I was shocked. The top of it died back. I'm trying to prune it to reassert a central leader on it. Hopefully it'll continue growing. I was surprised. They are very drought tolerant, but we had a really, really dry, long, hot spring.
And the plant on the other side of
That's the silver-leafed saw palmettos. They're the different type of our palmettos that you see growing all over Florida. It's a cultivar that happened naturally. They're called saw palmettos because they have ridges along the petioles of the leaf stalks. They're very sharp. Saw palmettos are a normal part of our understory in several of our ecosystems in Florida.
what we have here as the border.
Borders here are Coonties, which are native. They're a plant that's very tough. They are a very ancient plant. They predate normal flowering plants as far as ecology. In South Florida, they are a host plant for the Ocala butterfly. We don't have Ocalas up this far yet.
What of the growth of this plant?
These leaves come right out of the ground.
Are these easy to transplant? Can you move them around?
No, the roots are large and you can't get enough root when you dig it up to be able to have it survive. They're commonly available in native nurseries. They're male and female plants or dioecious. The female plants have a large cone down in the bottom, and the male plants have a long, skinny one.
So this would be a plant where you would want to think about your garden design, choose a good spot for it, plant it, and leave it. How fast does this plant grow?
It's fairly slow growing. It makes up for it because it is very tough and you're not going to lose it, most likely. Eventually you get a nice big plant like this.
And it's evergreen, so you can enjoy this beautiful, almost palm-like leaf.
It's related to the sago palms that people often grow. Sago palms are not native to Florida. This one is native to Florida. This is a regular green saw palmetto, which is more common type that you're going to see in the woods.
That's nice to see the comparison of the green and the huge silver behind it. This looks like an educational sign.
We have several located throughout the garden. A part of our mission is to educate the public about native plants, about our native habitats and different types of plants that grow in them.
This habitat that we're looking at right now is called sandhill.
Yes. This whole area would have been naturally sandhill, but because it's had too many people living around here for too long. Sandhill depends upon fire. It's gotten supplanted by things like oaks. Too many oaks, which provide too much shade for a sandhill. They've been removing some oaks strategically through the years, and we're getting a little more light in this area, but it's still a little shady.
What is that blooming? That's more of a
Shrub. It's a calamint. And there you got beautiful flowers this time of year, and they're kind of pinky. The pollinators love them.
if you're looking to add a calamint to your pollinator garden, what do you need in terms of sun and soil and water?
They need pretty good amount of sun, and they like sandier soils better because they're more adapted to the sandhill. As long as it's well drained, they will not grow in a really rough soil.
Is this the one they call Contradina canescens?
Yes.
Does it have a common name people might know it by?
Scrub mint.
It's one of the scrub
Scrub
mints.
mints.
False rosemary? What looks like flower buds coming off.
That will be flowering pretty soon. That is called Garberia, and they are a great plant for sandhill. And mention this one, Lopsided Indian grass, which is in flower at this time of year. That flowers do not last long, but when they do, they're gorgeous. They hang to one side of all flower head. They're gorgeous plant. The ones they're very short flowering period.
We're here at another part of the garden.
There's several types of native wildflowers that are growing here. This is a lance leaf coreopsis, the whole species, the state wildflower. This is one of them.
Looks like a grass back here.
That's Elliott's love grass.
And is that the silver or the purple?
That's the silver one.
Is this dotted horsemint back here?
Yes, it's kind of past its flowering stage. Normally when they're flowering, they're more purpley. The bracts underneath the flowers are more purpley and pink or purple.
This is the end of their season. They bloom until mid-October.
These are skullcaps. The reason they're called skullcaps is because the seed heads are shaped like the old-timey graduation caps. It has blue flowers on it. It's a very tough plant. It's a good plant for a lot of situations.
Would you recommend that for a butterfly pollinator garden?
Yes, they love it.
What is this?
That is a coral bean, which they flowered the summer. They have long spikes of red flowers.
And is their seed pod?
Those are the seed pods. They're in the bean family. The seeds are red, and they are a little bit thorny, so you have to be careful. It's right here along the pathway. It's not the greatest situation to have.
So would this go in a sandhill? Or does it need a little more water?
It's not really a sandhill species.
It can get pretty tall, right?
It can get pretty tall, and this is one, like we talked about, the Coonties planted where you want it because the root on this thing is probably this big around. They get very large taproots. You're not going to be moving it around.
Plus the stickers, you could have it as a specimen or you could have it back off of a main traffic area if you wanted it in your yard.
The 3-lobe leaves are very pretty on it too. 3 lobes.
Yeah.
Hummingbirds like it because they eat red flower thorns.
This looks like a Garberia.
This is a Garberia. I don't know if we'll be lucky enough to see one that's flowering a lot.
But it's getting ready. And it'll be flowering in November. So it's going to be one of the last plants here in Central Florida. Here we have some
Jamaican porterweed. This is a native one. There is a non-native one. The native one grows kind of low to the ground. It has purple flowers.
They come out on spikes.
Another beautyberry.
And the grass that you were talking about, the love grass. Tell us about this large evergreen shrub.
That is yellow anise, a very aromatic plant. Not very showy flowers. They're in sections that break apart when the seeds get ripe.
This looks like it would be a screening plant. and it doesn't drop leaves. The anise is poisonous, but as a screening plant, it's wonderful, and it's also deer resistant. The deer do not come and chew on this plant. This is what a full-grown anise plant looks like.
Bush is a granite, but it tolerates shade, which most of our native grand arbors don't. Got blue flowers, it's called creeping sage. As you can see, it can cover a whole large area. But if you want to ground cover, this is one that you can grow, but be aware that it'll spread widely.
If you had a large area
Right.
that you wanted to fill in,
Particularly if you got trees, but where you watch something that we can't grow grass.
can you walk on this?
We know that doesn't really tolerate foot traffic. These are the narrow-leaved sunflower. The hurricanes knocked them all down. They this time of year they do a beautiful yellow blanket of yellow flowers. They are also called swamp sunflowers, but they do not have to grow in a really wet area. Velvet leaf, wild coffee,
The velvet leaf
as
is
opposed to this shiny leaf. Wild coffees like shade. They do not like to be in full sun.
how big would you say these plants get?
I think they get maybe to about 5 foot.
And how big would the shiny leaf get?
The shiny leaf, it depends on what type you have. There's a little selection from this part of the state that is really low growing, 2-3 foot tall, maybe 4, but mostly the normal ones probably get 6 foot or so.
We have the water feature.
Some native aquatic plants growing in it. These are spider lilies, a small water lily, and a red flower hibiscus. All of these are native to Florida.
This is the hibiscus over here.
Yeah, people ask us if it's marijuana. No, it is not.
I didn't realize they would grow in water.
They don't want to be very deep, but yes, they will grow in water. They will grow along the edge of a pond.
What kind of spider lilies are these?
We've been going back and forth as far as what species it is. The one you will probably find for sale is Hymenocallis latifolia. That is not what this one is.
What color does that one look?
They're white flowers.
Near this water feature, it looks like you have coffees.
These are the dwarf coffees. The ones that you find in this area. They got plenty of fruit on them. And the fruit is not coffee. They call it wild coffee because it looks like a coffee berry, not that it tastes like coffee berries. This one is truly water willow. I don't think we'll find any of them flowering still. They had purpley flowers on them. That actually is a rare plant that is found in this county and not a lot of other counties. When you plant it in a garden bed like this, sometimes plants behave differently, so it doesn't look very rare.
They're covered with these when they're blooming. Looks like you have some kind of grass growing in the back.
Yes, that is the river oats. Very attractive singing heads. Really easily grow along like a bank of a tree to a stream. They have kind of a bluish foliage to them, and they are tree in their flower like that whole in seed.
This is one of the grasses that can grow in shade.
Yeah.
That for that shady area in your border.
Women of golden rods, this is one of all golden rod species. They make it all the pollinators on it. And our native goldenrod.
This looks like a coffee plant.
That's a coffee. Needs to be in the shade.
Would you say that's about its full size?
Yes. I don't think they get much bigger than that.
It looks like they have several stems coming out from the base.
That's what they do. Or kind of a shape that it does this. That's normal for.
And nice berries on it.
Mm-hmm.
Will this drop its leaves in the wintertime?
No.
This is an evergreen or semi-evergreen.
Semi-evergreen. We got some ferns in here. Willow.
And back of it is the maidenhair.
Maidenhair fir.
Okay.
That's where
Fern.
you came from. What's the Coontie forest? Pocoma. The kind of from.
And this would be an oak-leaf hydrangea. This is another plant that likes shade. It also tolerates partial sun.
It needs a kind of moisture soil.
So this is not a sandhill plant.
This one has a pretty broad geographical range, because when it grows along what is north of you. It's a great plant, lovely leaves, white flowers, and kind of a big cluster on the top.
One thing I know about this plant is deer love this plant. If you have a lot of deer in your area, you need to consider how you're going to protect it. So we're going to look at a plant that is beloved by deer.
This is called Hertzabursten. Oh,
I've heard about that. I've never seen one.
Heart. We should have one where you could actually see the plant, a bursting.
A bursting or strawberry bush. What do we need to know about this plant?
It wants to be in shady area. Doesn't like a really dry soil, but they're all along the forest here. You see plants that are 6 inches tall because the deer mow them off. The only time you see a full-size one is if it's somewhere the deer can't get to.
If you have loamy soil or part loam in your sandy soil,
Right.
would it do okay?
Yeah.
Get a soil test so you know the composition of your soil.
The information kiosk here was our latest addition, where we have literature about plants that people can grow in this area. We have the map of this garden and some information on some of the plants. And on this side, we have room to post. We have our plant sales or any things that are coming up as far as the chapter is concerned.
Janet, thank you so much for this tour, because you don't often get to see the whole gamut of Florida native plants. And sandhill plants are not something when you go to the big box store or other places that are going to be featured, although they are available at Florida Native Plant Society plant sales.
You can also get them from several native nurseries. We maintain a list of the native nurseries that you can go to around here, and several other native plant societies can tell people where to go to find native plants at the big box stores, because sometimes they have something similar, but they don't have the real native types. They got ones that have been messed with as far as the...
If somebody wanted that list, would that be on your website?
Go to our website, is www.hcfnps.org.
You would tell a person who's new to Florida and this area of Florida, which is Central Florida.
We do promote native plants because as long as you plant them on the right site, they don't require as much water, fertilizer. They do require some water when they're getting established. We try to promote our native nurseries. The Florida Native Plant Society does have a lot of information on their website at www.fmps.org. You can find recommendations of plants for your area. That's a lot of help for people who are not familiar with these plants.
I hope you enjoyed our walk around Nature Coast Botanical Gardens Native Plant Garden. Thanks to Janet, president of the Hernando Chapter of the Florida Native Plant Society, for sharing her knowledge of plant species and how you can use them successfully in your garden. If you have any comments, please put below. If you enjoyed the video, thumbs up is greatly appreciated. If you're interested in more information, check out these videos and subscribe. Garden yay! See you in the next video.